Hi, it's Nick of Soul Contract Tarot. I'm just doing a general reading for Libra season for the collective. So this reading is not going to be specific to any sign or any person. This is just a general reading for the collective. So take what you want, leave the rest. If it doesn't work for you, it might work for somebody else. So self-care and boundaries popped out. So maybe that's where we need to start, is with self-care and boundaries. What do you guys think? I feel like those are two of the most complicated, complex concepts that are out there. Even when we say, oh yeah, I have boundaries. Oh yeah, I do self-care. But then it's just like, how do I actually implement that into my life? How do I actually stay true to my boundaries? And I say to clients all the time that this is how I view boundaries. I view boundaries like an open window that has a fly screen on it. So there's a screen that air can flow in and out. We can get the nice breeze. It's really nice. If it rains, we can smell the rain. We get the nice breeze coming in and out. But things like flies and bees, moths, things that could fly through can't get through the fly screen. But the window is open. So like I said, the air is coming in and out, and that's our boundary right there. We want our boundaries to be flexible, because if our boundaries are a concrete wall, then that means that, like, sure, things that we deem as negative or things that we don't want to be in our life can't come through. But then things that we want to come through, like love and joy, friendship, relationships, good feelings, abundance, those things can't come through either, because we've got a concrete wall. So if we've got boundaries that are like an open window where the air can flow in and out, that's flexible boundaries. And the thing about the window is that at any point you feel like it, you can just shut the whole window and then no air can come in. And that's your hard no right there. That's like, this is my hard no. Nothing is coming in. And that's boundaries right now. This is the Vessel Oracle deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans of Spirit Speak. Boundaries. And how much are boundaries self-care? Like, that's what self-care is. It's a huge, boundaries are like the foundation of self-care, because I think that, I didn't grow up with any boundaries. Or know that I could set boundaries. Like, of course, there's the boundary of like, don't put your finger in that electrical socket, or like, don't get in the car with that person that you don't know, things like that. But I didn't know that I could have other types of boundaries. I also didn't know that boundaries could be a yes. We have these hard yes boundaries, like, yes, that is my jam. Like, yes, that is my Teal's one that says, like, my favorite flavor of ice cream. That's a boundary. Like, I love salted caramel ice cream. That's a boundary, because it's a yes. It's something that I've intentionally decided for myself that represents an aspect of me. So, like, you can have a hard no, you can have your soft no's, you can have your maybes, you can have your hard yes, That's why, like, when we talk about consent and like sexual consent, we talk about the enthusiastic yes. That's a boundary. And so for Libra season, I feel like a lot of people need to feel into their boundaries and feel into how boundaries are self-care, boundaries are love. Because when we start setting boundaries, people get really upset. People that loved it, that you didn't have boundaries, so that they could, walk all over you or take advantage or get what they wanted whenever they wanted. That's a big thing for this Libra season. And Libra has a lot to do with relationships and how we relate to people. And so I think it's important for us to think about how that's going to show up this Libra season. All right, let's see what we've got. Using the Collective Tarot. Oh my God. Okay. So we have, well, 3. I've got 2 feathers. I've got the 6 of feathers and the 4 of feathers. These are swords for traditional tarot readers. These are swords cards. And then I've got the Star reversed. Because I think that right now, this Libra season is really about taking space for oneself and one's own healing and moving away from the things that don't work anymore. And that's where boundaries come in, because I think that Six of Feathers is us going on that journey, that transition out of an old set space, an old sense of self, an old way of doing things, an old mindset. And I think that it's really the time for us to move away, settle into our own self. I don't know if you do meditation or if you're someone that has a really active kind of inner dialogue. This is a time to really be tuning into and listening to that. I think that with Four of Feathers and the Six of Feathers, it's about a moving on and really listening to oneself about that. You know yourself more than anyone does, more than anything that I could say here, any other tarot reader, any other kind of modality could say. You know yourself, and that's why it's all about the self-care. Yeah, self-care can be, hiring people to, facilitate a healing session for you, but more than that, it's about the self. It's what does the self want? And the Six of Feathers is saying we're moving away from an old self. An old paradigm is shifting. And yeah, this can feel really painful because it's hard to move away. It's hard to transition. But then again, it's like, what is that old saying that's like, the only constant is change? And the Six of Feathers is saying, like, you know that this is right. Deep in here, you know that this is the right thing, that you need to move on into a new shift of life. And the Four of Feathers is asking you, take some time for yourself, set your room up so it feels really good and inviting. Go lay in your bed, journal, meditate, do something that allows you to be in touch with you. And I think that with the Star reversed, this isn't about looking outward into the collective and what is everyone else doing? How is everyone else healing? Let me go on Instagram and see what everyone else's thoughts are. This is about you going inward and really tapping into that Four of Feathers and being like, well, what do I think? What works for me? What has worked for me? What hasn't worked for me? And that's the way that you move into a space of healing. I think that when we look at boundaries and self-care, we have to really look at what works for me, not what works for someone else. Even your own best friend is going to have different needs, wants, and desires than you. And the ways that you heal compared to other people is going to be completely unique to you and your experience. What works for someone isn't necessarily going to work for you, and vice versa. And so this Libra season is really about figuring out what methods of healing work for you. Maybe you just need to tune out and watch Netflix for days. Maybe that's just what's going to work for you right now, because it's getting you into saying yes to your boundaries. Okay, my boundary is that I think I'm going to stay in instead of going out. The Four of Feathers is really asking, how can we relax? How can we have some rest? The Four of Swords in traditional tarot is, that person that's in their armor. They've got their armor on and they're just resting. They're laying there. It's almost like they're in a tomb. And that's kind of the energy of Four of Feathers is not like the Two of Feathers or the Two of Swords. It's not like everybody out, get away from me. This is about, you guys, I think I just need some time for myself. And I'll talk to you later. I'm just going to put my phone on airplane mode or do not disturb or whatever. And I'm just going to listen to this music that I really love or listen to these podcasts that I really love that get me really provoked in thought. It's about letting people know what your process is, but taking time for yourself. That is the core message of the Four of Feathers, Four of Swords. I'm going to communicate to you what I need, and then I'm going to take care of myself in that. Okay? So if you're like, I need someone to bring me some food, but I don't actually want to hang out, straight up say that. Hey, I love you. I love how you care for me, but I just really need some nourishment in my body because I can't cook for myself right now. Can you just drop some food off? Thanks. I love you. We'll hang out next week. That's a boundary. That's self-care. But that's also letting people in on your process And your friends, your family, your loved ones, they want to be let in on your process. Okay, what else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, we have the code reversed, which in traditional tarot is the Emperor reversed. Guys, this is really about looking inward to the self. This is kind of that like soul searching thing that we love to talk about, like in spiritual communities or whatever. The Emperor like really wants to understand themselves. The code really wants to understand themselves, wants to understand like, what am I doing? How do I take up space? How am I empowered? You might be feeling powerlessness. There might be a sense of powerlessness that's coming up for you. Like, I don't know how to take up space and I feel really constricted and I don't know how to move around in this world. And so with the code reversed, this is that time where when you go into that space of Four of Feathers, and I'm really, really hearing Four of Feathers is the core here. Four of Feathers is the boundary, is the self-care. Four of Feathers is going to get you tuned in to why the code is in the reversal. Because when the code is up like this is very much, I feel empowered. I know exactly what I need. I feel like I can take up space. I feel like I can do it in a way that doesn't oppress other people, but that makes me feel like I know what my sense of self is, like my self-esteem is high. But when the code reverses, this is a time like, let's move inward to kind of look at, why do I feel pretty insecure right now? Why am I feeling like I need to move away from certain aspects of my life? That Six of Feathers. Remember, this isn't about that moving away. And so in the time of quiet, in the time of just having a moment of breath, a day off, and sometimes we can't not go to work, but we can say, hey, social activities, I need a day off. Or, no, I can't host that meeting right now. Like the Four of Feathers, that quiet, that silence, that's when we're going to figure out where the kind of like insecurity is coming from the code. And maybe you're not feeling insecure. Maybe you've already done that work and you're ready to be like, okay, how can I really put this out there? How can I really share myself with the world? I don't know how to do it yet. So with the code, this is all about trying to figure out how the pieces of I am work, who I am and how I'm going to deliver that outward. But right now, it's still very much an internal journey that's happening. The code is very much saying like, we are internal still, and we're working through our feelings around security, our feelings around how we take up space, our feelings around how we are empowered. So if you're someone that often empowers others, okay, so how can you empower yourself? If you're someone who feels like you need others in order to feel empowered, but you're not quite sure how to do it for yourself, this is a great time. Libra season is going to open that potential. You just have to actively be saying to yourself, okay, I want to figure this out. I have the willingness to move into a space where I ask myself these tougher questions that maybe I've been avoiding in the past, and I really want to come forth. The Six of Feathers, like I said, it's moving you away from specific aspects. And maybe what needs to be moved away from is the feelings of insecurity. And I can say that when we set boundaries and when we start really taking care of ourselves, yeah, it can feel a little bit like, it can feel a bit insecure. We might put some people off. That might not feel very good, especially when, we've got all these other traumas and dysfunctions and hurts and wounds in our past. It can feel really hard to put ourselves first. But right now, for Libra season, I'm going to say putting yourself first in a way that doesn't hurt other people, that doesn't shame other people, but saying, wait, I need to choose me right now because I can't show up for anyone else if I'm always putting other people before me. So I think for Libra season, what we need to focus in on is, what does my healing look like? How can I show up with willingness for myself when I am so used to showing up for everyone else and putting me last. This is so much about you showing up for you, being there. And I know that that can be really uncomfortable. I know that that can feel really weird. It can feel really hard to set boundaries. It can feel really hard to choose yourself because maybe in the past you've been told that that's selfish. Maybe you've been told that it's not okay to put yourself first or that you need to be of service all the time. But what do we know about being of service all the time is that we get burnt out. We can't do anything then. We can't be caring. We can't have compassion. We fall into compassion fatigue. So we have to make sure that we've got those boundaries. The Six of Feathers is asking you to move away from the things that aren't working anymore. This can be an overnight process. This can take years. You know, this isn't going to be the same for everybody. But just know that it is time to start moving away from the things that are no longer working, the things that are keeping you feeling insecure, the things that are keeping you feeling like you don't deserve to have the life that you want. And so boundaries, self-care, figuring out how to heal for yourself. Yeah. And the last card that I've pulled is fire. This relates directly to the code that we have in reverse there, the code we have in reverse. This is our Aries. This is our fire. So the fire is lit. Fire, when it lights, it goes, it moves. We can contain it, yeah, because when fire gets uncontained, it can do some devastating things. So this isn't about destroying your life. This is about figuring out how to make your life thrive. We need fire as much as it is destructive. We need fire to keep warm, to cook our food, to have light. You know, fire serves us in these really incredible ways. And then fire can be completely devastating at the same time. So what we have to remember right now for Libra season is this isn't about burning your life down. This isn't the tower. The tower is not like happening right now. This is about moving away because you've chosen to move on. And the fire is there to push you. The fire is there to light the coals on the boat that you need to sail away from, you know, like use the fire in the way that it's going to help motivate you. So I hope that you can find something here. You can establish some boundaries, self-care, treat yourself nice, treat yourself with compassion. This is about letting people know what your process is, what you need to do for yourself to make this Libra season feel good. You've got this. Your healing journey is about you. So let's make sure that there's some definitions there on, okay, I need to take care of myself tonight. Okay, I need to do this for me. I need to put these things in place. I need to listen to what the mind is saying. I need to listen to what the heart is saying. I need to listen to what my body's saying. Thanks so much. I'm Nick, Soul Contract Tarot. Like this video if it was good for you. Subscribe if you're into it. And I'll link some personal stuff below. See you next time. Bye.